NBA players are not just competitors, they are also performers. The court is their stage, and the fans their audience. Through the years, there have been many flamboyant stars, but one of the most spectacular showmen was a slender guard with floppy socks who played with a flair all his own. His name, Pete Maravich, and he's in the spotlight this week on Vintage NBA.
2 seconds, 1 second, West throws it up, he makes it.
Now there's a steal by Bird, underneath the DJ, lays it in.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Yes, basketball has changed. It's always been a great game, but now it has a new spirit.
He dunks like Dr. J. He might be the new Iceman.
The modern day Wilt Chamberlain.
He looked like Magic Johnson.
The future has arrived.
You are watching what greatness is all
about. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Vintage NBA. I'm Robin Roberts. Back in the 70s, NBA fans were treated to a dazzling one-man show. He's the subject of our show this week, Pete Maravich. They called him the Pistol, and he was one of basketball's greatest entertainers, bringing his playground game to the NBA. Today, there's a new cast of flashy guards, and one of them is the Phoenix Suns' Jason Kidd. Recently, Jason sat down with us. I don't know how to break this to you, but not in the chair. Somehow, it didn't quite make it to Phoenix. Apparently, it's on the injured list. So no chair, but we do have Jason talking about Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete is a legend to all who understand the game of basketball. He came out and played hard. He put on a great show, and he was a unique player. Being an entertainer and also a basketball player, you have to be able to combine the both. And when you can perfect that, more people will come out to watch the game, and also you'll have a lot more fun. He really set the trend of the no-look pass. Pistol Pete coming up court, and then he'll just bounce it and then tap it. He did a lot of stuff with the ball. Pistol was also a guy known by his socks, you know, the floppy socks. Here's the lime green stripe with the great socks, with the floppy socks right there. The things he did brought people out to come watch the game of basketball, and that's what has made him a legend. Did Pete Maravich reach 50 points in college? The answer, 26 times. 26 more times than I have. Scoring 43 points a night and not having a three-point line. You know, that's incredible. That's unheard of. Pistol didn't have a line like this, and he would still shoot from out here. 44. I think that was something that he probably wanted to average for his career, and this was probably a reminder for him to go out and put the ball up, and everybody knew when they saw Pistol that he was coming to play. On any given night, he can give you 50, or he can give you 10 assists. The stuff that Pistol did with the ball was the breaking ground for what we can do today.
When you talk about the Pistol, that made me think of the Pistol.
Oh my goodness, that was vintage Pistol Pete Maravich.
How about that one?
You can shake your head and say, you gotta be kidding me.
Boy, if that didn't look like Pistol Pete.
He gave a Pete Maravich fake wraparound pass.
To be, you know, mentioned in the same breath as a guy like Pistol Pete, it gives you goosebumps. If my career was to end today and people would say, hey, Jason Kidd was a guy that played like Pistol Pete, then I think I would smile at night and feel that I've accomplished a lot in the NBA.
Jason with a nice tribute to Pete Maravich, even though he had to sit on the floor, but we have received word that the chair will be ready to go for next week's show. And speaking of sitting on the floor, one of Pete's trick shots was shooting while sitting down, and you'll see it later in a special game of horse that we've dug up from the Airwave archive. But up next, we remember the fabulous career of Pistol Pete.
Pete had a fire about him that he wanted to be, you know, this globetrotter type of guy.
The Pistols doing it all, a great ball game.
A moving car going 20 miles an hour. He also spent 10 hours a day shooting his jumper during the summer. And the results of this hard work were plain for everyone to see. Because anytime Maravich had a basketball in his hands, it was showtime.
The best showman of all time. I'll probably have to say Pistol Pete.
You're looking at Pistol Pete Maravich, in my opinion, the greatest playmaker playing today.
From the first time he set foot on an NBA court, Pete Maravich treated fans to a dazzling display of basketball. Famous for his playground moves and circus shots, Pete always added his own special touch of showmanship.
Pistol was like a guy, the game was boring to him, so he had to create things to keep him interested. Just coming down, making a nice pass, he'd have to go through his legs or 2 times around his back.
Pete had a fire about him that he wanted to be, you know, this globetrotter type of guy.
The Pistols doing it all, a great ball game.
He was clearly one of the first mega personalities that broke onto the scene, and one of the real leaders in bringing basketball into this sort of area of artistry.
Pistol Pete first opened his show in college, playing for LSU in the late 60s. There he unveiled an incredible array of moves that made him a national sensation. For 3 straight seasons, Maravich led the country in scoring, and his coach also happened to be his father, Press.
My dad was probably the greatest influence of my life. He was always my hero. He really influenced me to go out and really practice the game as much as I could.
I used to talk to him about conceptualizing in basketball. And he just asked me, what do you mean by that? I said, you have to think 1, 2, maybe 3 patterns ahead of time what's going to happen.
Under his dad's tutelage, Maravich became a college superstar, setting records that still stand today. He remains the all-time NCAA scoring leader, and his career average of 44 points per game is the highest ever. It was also in college where Pete acquired his nickname.
The nickname Pistol came about where a writer was at one of our games, a JV game I was playing. I used to shoot the ball down here. I used to rise it up like this because I didn't have any strength to put it over my head. So I used to take the ball and go down like this and then shoot like this. And it resembled to this person, the guy drawing. So he said, yeah, it looks like he's shooting, you know, with a pistol. So the next day he wrote an article and he said, Pistol Pete.
As Pete's college career drew to a close, his legend continued to grow. He was ready to take his act to the ultimate stage, and in 1970, he made his much-anticipated NBA debut.
We are most happy to announce that Pete Maravich will play professional basketball for the Atlanta Hawks.
After being selected 3rd in the 1970 draft, Maravich displayed his skills during his early days in Atlanta. But at times he struggled to adjust to the pro game and was never able to turn the Hawks into a consistent winner. And in 1974, Maravich was traded to the expansion New Orleans Jazz. He was once again playing in Louisiana, though he found himself in some unusual surroundings.
We played in an arena, Loyola Fieldhouse, which was basically off the floor about 4 feet. And so they had to put a net. They put a big net around the entire court so people wouldn't fall off. But, you know, the fans in New Orleans were tremendous. They really enjoyed pro basketball, and they were really behind the team, even though they knew that the team was going to lose and it was going to take years and years before they could come up where they could be a contender, as they are today.
The Jazz moved to the enormous Superdome, where larger audiences would enjoy the Pistols' act. And over the next few years, Maravich would blossom as one of the league's top scorers, while continuing to delight the fans with his unique flair.
Pistol was great. I mean, man, you look at the three-point line now, and I think he would have had a lot of 60, 50-point games.
As great a shooter as he was, Pete's enduring legacy was his mastery of the basketball. He had an endless repertoire of trick shots and fancy moves.
Pete, there's a lot of young kids watching now who would admire the way you play. How many hours a day would you spend with a basketball, bouncing and shooting, and say when you're 12 years old?
When I was 12, Don, during the summer months, about 8 hours a day, between 8 and 8.5, and during the winter months, about 4 hours a day.
Good. Some work went into all this, huh?
You don't get here by just wishing it.
After 10 brilliant seasons, Pete retired from the NBA in 1980. But just 8 years later, Maravich died of a heart attack caused by a congenital heart defect that happened while playing the game he loved in a California gym.
To me, what I got off on was, the floppy socks and the floppy hair and the passes that would bring you out of your seat. When you think about what he was able to accomplish with a hole in his heart, it just raises his stature to a degree it's unbelievable. How could he have achieved what he did being in the condition he was in?
Maravich, oh Maravich, play your game and do your thing. Listen to the people roll.
Pete Maravich was a 5-time All-Star and a league scoring champion. But above all, he'll be remembered for his flashy style and the joy he brought to those who watched.
If you go back and you look at film of what this guy was actually doing with the basketball, people still, to this day, can't do it. It was beautiful to watch.
The things that I did with the basketball, down and back pass between the legs, things of that nature, I played for the fans. There was no doubt about that. But the first thing I played for was to win.
Today, Pete's number 7 jersey hangs in the rafters in Utah, and his famous floppy socks are on display in the Hall of Fame. One of his assistant coaches with the Jazz summed him up pretty well. He said he would have paid just to watch Maravich practice. But Pete's original coach and lifelong mentor was his father, Press. And basketball has had a few other father-son combos. More on that in a moment. First, a flashback to Pete's rookie season of 1970. At LSU. But they weren't the only father-son duo to make their mark in basketball. Playing for the Syracuse Nationals, Dolph Schayes was one of the NBA's original superstars. After his playing days, Dolph coached the Buffalo Braves and gave the job of ball boy to his 11-year-old son, Danny. That was the start of Danny's NBA career, and he went on to play 18 seasons as a center for 7 different teams. Bob Ferry spent a decade as an NBA center in the 60s. He later became vice president of the Washington Bullets, and Bob's son Danny would follow in his footsteps. He started Duke and is now a forward for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Of course, there is Hall of Famer Rick Barry, one of the greatest players in NBA history who had not 1 but 4 chips off the old block, who all pursued basketball careers. 3 of them are in the NBA. Drew finished up the 2000 season with the Atlanta Hawks. Brent won the 1996 Slam Dunk Contest as a member of the Clippers and is now a guard for the Sonics. And John Barry is a key reserve for the Kings, who helped them reach the playoffs the last 2 years.
All my boys are late developers, But the thing is they're getting better every year, so you just have to kind of wait for them a little bit.
Back in the 70s, Joe Jellybean Bryant was part of the entertaining Sixers team. And while the family lived in Philadelphia, his young son Kobe began turning up at local playgrounds. Well, you know the rest. Kobe turned into a high school phenom, has gone on to become one of the game's biggest stars with the Lakers.
He's a very entertaining player. I mean, when he gets out on the floor, it's, I think everyone gets on the edge of their seat. Now, I'm not talking as a parent. I'm talking as just someone who, who's been around basketball for the past 20 years.
But it's not just fathers and sons anymore. For example, Harvey Ketchings played 11 years in the NBA and was a teammate of Joe Bryant in Philly. He's now been followed by his daughter, Tamika, an All-American at the University of Tennessee and a future star in the WNBA. But no matter the circumstances or the sport, it seems father knows best.
I remember my father as a professional athlete, and I used to say he had his game face on from, I don't know, from training camp until the end of the season. And he was so intense and so focused. A lot of things have happened since I've been in the NBA, but I can always relate them, or there's a story that parallels the same experience that my dad went through.
Of course, we didn't want to leave anyone out, like Ed Manning and his son Danny, plus a father and son coaching duo, Don Nelson and his son, Don Nelson. But we do want to get back to Pete Maravich's kid, Pete. We'll check out a vintage performance from his rookie season in just a moment. It's the Hawks against the Phoenix Suns as we join Keith Jackson and Jack Twyman.
The Atlanta Hawks are winding up a 3-game road trip, having beaten Los Angeles in L.A., losing in San Diego, Phoenix last game, losing in overtime to Philadelphia. Connie Hawkins steps into the center circle, wearing number 42 in white. You'll see some of the great moves in basketball as he goes to work today. He's in against Big Bell, Walt Bellamy, and Hawkins has the tip to Haskins, and the Suns in white go to work. Neal Walk misses, and Bellamy rebounds, clears ahead to Maravich. He goes home free. Maravich on the layup, and the Hawks break in front 2-0.
Richie Guerin does not think he can rebound with the Phoenix Suns, so he wants to get that ball out, as we just saw, and run and beat them down the floor.
Inside it goes to Hawkins to Dick Van Arsdale. It is blocked by Walter Bellamy. Cleared out to Maravich, and the Hawks in blue on the move. Bellamy missed it. Whistle stops the action. Manny Sokol made the call. Foul is on Hawkins, his first, and that's the first foul of the ball game. It's Hawkins, Van Arsdale, Haskins, Silas, and Walk for Phoenix. Walter Bellamy goes to the line. The backcourt men for Atlanta. Number 42 is Walter Hazard. 44 is Maravich, Bill Bridges, and Lou Hudson. Bellamy on the line for 2. Atlanta jumping in front 2-0. And Bell misses the first one. He's 6'11", the veteran, averaging just under 14 points a game out of Indiana. He missed a pair, and Maravich goes to the corner for the rebound. That's Hazard, and it's intercepted. Great play by Van Arsdale. Connie Hawkins in front. Dick Van Arsdale, the only remaining original Phoenix Sun. It's their 3rd year. Walk looking for some help, as Haskins. Rebound for Silas. Maravich and Haskins.
Right here.
Haskins getting his first personal. Maravich on the line with 2. 2 points. Now 3. Silas. Haskins on the baseline. Ball is knocked away by Walt Hazard. Lou Hudson from 20. Off Bill Bridges, out of bounds. Phoenix ball. Phoenix 2 out of 8 from the field so far. Inside, blocked by Bridges on Haskins' shot. Hudson couldn't control it. Hazard picked it up. Lou from the baseline. Again, they can't buy one. That's Bellamy. Muscle time, and he loses the battle. Phoenix cleared. Connie Hawkins, 17-footer. Everybody's cold. Hudson down hard. Shot cleared by Van Arsdale is good.
The Hawk strategy is working. They're getting that fast break, and Hudson is sneaking down ahead of, as we see Lou Hudson there putting a shoe back on. He ran right out of his shoe. But they're not able to capitalize on the fast break. They've been missing their shots.
7-6. The Suns lead. Atlanta coming with Maravich in control. Now Hudson's got his shoe back on and is down to help. Inside and stolen away by Silas. Third turnover. Silas finally got the soft little layup to drop through. And Phoenix by 3. Bellamy, the ball is checked out of bounds, and Bellamy hit it with his leg.
And we see a defensive change on the part of the Suns there. In order to conserve Connie Hawkins, they've switched him over to Bill Bridges. Bridges, not a real good offensive threat, but goes to the board.
Bad pass, out of bounds. Atlanta gets the ball. The Hawks are 2 out of 7 from the field with 4 turnovers here in the first quarter. And we have 7:09 to play. Pete Maravich coming to the attack for the Atlanta Hawks. Clem Haskins on him. Here's Walt Hazard. Off a pick set by Hudson. Here's Hudson from outside. Lou's got another one. 5 points for Lou Hudson, the leading scorer for Atlanta. A 9-8 ball game. The Suns by 1, and Haskins is short with his shot. Bellamy clears. Here goes Maravich. Maravich now with 5 points. Atlanta by 1, 10-9. Walk over his head. Has it roll in? Good.
The Suns have not been adjusting, Keith, to defense, and as a result, we've seen Hudson and Maravich a number of times sneak down. So they're going to have to be more aware of getting back on the defense to stop that break.
Hazard to Pete. That's Bill Bridges. He had his layup and missed it. Ball is stolen by Bridges. Lou Hudson inside to Bellamy. Bellamy working against Silas. Gets his bucket and he's fouled. Neil Walk to Ben Arsdale. Dick beats Pete Maravich and gets his basket. 4 points for Ben Arsdale. 15-13 Atlanta. Hazard driving. Walter with his first bucket.
Keith, with this foul problem, the Phoenix Suns are perplexed because Silas, in order to relieve Hawkins, is now guarding Hudson. So he's the rebounder on the team, and Hudson is sneaking down, and they're getting confused in their defensive assignments, and that's why Hudson's getting loose.
That's Haskins. So after a very cold start, both teams now starting to score at the expected rate, and we do expect a lot of scoring in this one. Atlanta by 2. Charging, Walter Hazard. That's Hazard's second personal foul. Connie Hawkins. Against Hudson, that's Walk inside. Ball is checked away, but look what I found for Walk and 2 points. Scores tied, 17-17, Walk with 4. Great defensive play by Haskins. He knocked it loose and scored. A super play by Haskins. Here's Hudson. Hawkins got it outside the cylinder. Slapped it away. It's Walk. Got 10,000 plus, and they love it. As Phoenix comes back to lead by 4. 3:50 to go, first quarter. Walk on Bellamy. Foul on Bellamy. Ball goes to Phoenix backcourt on the offensive foul. Bellamy's first. Haskins over Maravich. 9 points for Clem Haskins. 6-point lead for Phoenix. Hawkins now checking inside, working against Bridges. Here's Bellamy wide open. Bell has 5 points.
Keith, it's interesting to watch Van Arsdale with the ball here and Clem Haskins work Maravich. They're running him into double and triple picks and shaking loose that guard for the easy shot, as we've seen Van Arsdale and Haskins get.
Bill Bridges to Maravich. Give him that much room and he'll burn you. He has 7 points.
Here's Maravich with the ball. Watch the body control that he has. He hangs in the air almost, making a move on Haskins, going up, double clutching, holding on to the ball. Great body control in the air. Nice move by Pete Maravich.
So a glimpse of the pistol from his rookie year of 1970. He combined with Lou Hudson to make the Hawks a playoff team and captured a lot of attention with his flashy play. But his best was yet to come. He had his greatest game ever with the Jazz, the New Orleans version. You'll see it when we come back. But first, we expand your knowledge about NBA expansion. Bootleg thing, we're not quite sure. The quality of the video isn't great, but the quality of Pete's play is brilliant. Here he is, lighting up the Knicks as we join Andy Musser and Cal Ramsey.
Maravich. Boy, he's got all kinds of moves. What move doesn't this guy have, Cal?
Well, he can do it all. I don't know how you stop a guy like that. You'll have to have help, and right now the Knicks aren't able to do anything with it.
21 points for the pistol right now on a 41-28 lead. A whistle before the shot by Tiki Burton. 3 seconds. That basket does not count.
McAdoo wasn't in the lane that time. He couldn't pick the ball up. And when the ball was rolled loose and Tiki picked it up, McAdoo was still in the lane.
McAdoo is taken out of the game, getting a rest now, and he has been replaced by Phil Jackson. Well, the turnovers are mounting, and the Knicks have committed 9 to 5 for the Jazz. By the way, turnovers really hurt the Knicks last night. If you wanted to make a quickie analysis of last night's game as Williams shoots and scores, you'd point to the fact that the Knicks turned it over 23 times, leading to 22 Atlanta points. The Hawks turned it over 17 times, but only 10 Knick points. So a difference in points of 22-10. And here's a foul on E.C. Coleman.
E.C. trailing Phil Jackson along the lane. He was not in good defensive position that time. That's why he picked that foul up.
Knicks play it back in. Frazier makes the bounce pass to Tiki Burton. The ball was knocked away by Howard. Here comes Mo. Score it. And look at the happy Mo Howard. And an inbound steal for the Jazz. Everything is going wrong. Pistol fires. Oh, come on, come on. That's ridiculous. It's 47-28. Tiki Burton flies, and it's no good. We've got a loose ball foul.
And then the inbound pass was stolen, and Pistol Pete made another one.
Here's Mo Howard firing no good. We had a foul on Lonnie Shelton at the other end, and the Knicks have lost the ball again. 12 turnovers to 5 for New Orleans, and they picked them up in a hurry here. Williams feeding off the drive. Here's Maravich. They got it to the guy they want. Pistol in and out of the lane. Here's his good. A 21-point lead, 49-28. Shelton gets a basket, and that's only the second basket for the Knicks in the quarter as you watch Dean Meminger get ready to come into the game.
Well, Knicks having two big problems right now. One is turnovers on the offense, and the second is not able to contain the Jazz at all when they're on defense.
New Orleans has outscored the Knicks 20-4 in the quarter. A loose ball foul is called on Maravich. Knicks will play it from the sideline. The ball to be triggered by Monroe. Into McAdoo. Pearl gets it back to Jackson. A jumper by Phil. No good. Rebound. Williams fire it out to Maravich. He threw it too long, and Monroe gets back and intercepts it. First turnover of the quarter against the Jazz. The Knicks have turned it over 6 times in the period. And New Orleans picks it right off again.
The
The Knicks just not moving that ball well on the offensive end. The Jazz playing real good defense, but of course the Knicks are not sharp on offense at all.
Well, last night, the Knicks had their lowest quarter of the year, a dozen points. Right now in this quarter, halfway through it, they've scored just 4. 6:20 left in the quarter. Looks like somebody ought to put a handle on that ball right now. McAdoo shoots. Good. And inside, contact between Phil Jackson and Otto Moore, and they both went down to the floor. 13 points for McAdoo.
Now the Knicks have given Dean Memminger the task of trying to contain Pete Maravich. Nobody else has been able to do anything with him so far.
Well, what do you say? 27 points for Maravich, and we're 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes from halftime. He's an incredible performer. Earl twists into the lane, but he traveled. It doesn't count.
Well, Pistol can shoot, but he wants to get his shots off. You watch him using a screen here, working against Dean Memminger. Now he comes off the screen by Nate Williams, then Otto Moore. 2 guys boxing out right there, and there Pistol goes up for a shot.
Number 53, Rich Kelly, has come into play center. There's the pass into Kelly. He is a second-year man from Stanford. Kelly was ejected in New York on Tuesday night. That basket does not count. Offensive foul is the call. Kelly was ejected for arguing Tuesday night. Elgin Baylor showing a little displeasure, but he's got to be careful here because his club leads it by 21. He can't be too unhappy. Another steal. Oh, the turnovers are killing the Knicks. Kelly. And a 23-point lead. 55-32. Timeout for the New York Knicks.
Pete Maravich was on his way to a classic performance, and he was doing it against one of the league's best defenders, Walt Frazier. By the time it was over, Pete had poured in a career-high 68 points, the 11th highest single-game total in NBA history. The Pistol always delighted the fans with his exploits, but his teammates also enjoyed watching the show.
He was so fast and so creative that it was just an overpowering feeling when he was coming at you on the break. And I remember that so distinctly from my rookie year on, how much fun it was running down the lane playing fast break basketball with Pete Maravich.
NCAA and NBA scoring champion against George Gervin, the current scoring champion in the league. And here's Mendy Rudolph.
The basic rules of horse are as follows. The player in control must describe his shot beforehand. Now, 2 consecutive shots from the same area are not allowed unless someone moves at least 5 feet away. There are trick shots allowed. However, the same trick shot cannot be attempted more than once in the contest. The flip of the coin will determine who goes first. Now, there's going to be disputes out there, and if there are, my word will be the final judge.
And so to lead away, George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs has won the toss, and he fires up a jumper off the glass. And the Pistol had too much on his.
Jump shot.
Gervin, a spectacular player, an over 50% shooter from the backcourt.
All right, out of bounds.
Now Pistol
behind,
Pete.
Off the backboard, straight out.
Going to go into his bag of tricks, and he has got a lot of them. They say of George Gervin, he can shoot over just about any guard in the league, and anyone he can't, he can drive around.
No step, straight out.
Straight up.
All right, sit down, make a layup.
Pistol's going to take it easy here.
Off the backboard.
Pistol can make that ball talk, I think. George wasn't expecting all this sitting down, I don't think.
Okay, up a little closer. Up a little closer. A little closer. There you go.
Settle right in there, George. And this, I think, is a first-time shot for George Gervin. But he's got it down. So he still leads 1-0.
Drive in, flip behind the back, catch you with one hand, laying in on the other side.
Gotcha. The Pistol, you'll recall, used that against Bob McAdoo and gave the big fella a lot of problems.
Leonard, Gervin.
And we're even.
Call it out, Pete.
Regular scoop shot. Right here, regular scoop shot. 2 hand.
Pistol's also gotten some people with that little scoop shot. He takes shots other people haven't tried before. There's a good example as the second letter goes up on George Gervin.
All right, take a dribble. The ball behind you, both wrists, both hands, flip it over you, and lay it in. Okay?
The Pistol was 3 times the NCAA scoring champion at LSU, twice an NBA scoring champion.
Got to be with 2 hands, too.
2 hands, George.
2 hands?
With 2 hands.
2 hands flipped like this.
There's Mrs. Maravich looking on. George Gervin. So Gervin, who just edged out David Thompson for the league scoring title this season, stays with him. That's a tough one. These guys haven't done that before. And 3 letters are up on George Gervin.
Jump shot.
Gervin takes control. Banks out.
Choke.
This competition coming to you from the Omni International Complex in Atlanta.
Letter, Maravich.
Twice now, Gervin's put letters on Maravich with the bank shot.
Off the backboard.
That is a tough shot. As tough a shot as there is. Straight away off the glass.
Letter, Maravich.
And so we're even.
Off the backboard.
The eventual winner of the horse competition will receive a check for $15,000.
Jump shot.
So the Pistol is now a letter from elimination as George Gervin is filling the basket up.
Oh, yeah, all day. That's it? That's it. Jump shot. Controlled to Maravich.
So Pistol Pete, 1 letter from elimination, has the shooting advantage back, and he's going to sit down again.
Letter.
And for a second time, the sit-down shot puts a number, a letter up on George Gervin.
All right. Let's stand on this side of the basket. Jump to the opposite side and bank it in.
You see those 4 letters up for each man.
Gotcha.
The next one that goes up sends the loser out and the winner on to the semifinals.
Straight jump.
Yeah.
Right here.
And so, NBA scoring champion George Gervin of San Antonio goes out, and Pistol Pete Maravich is a semifinalist in the horse competition. Pistol Pete Maravich of the New Orleans Jazz is our first semifinalist in the horse competition. Pete, that one got a little nervous.
I was very tense, Don. I'm just very happy to be here because George is such a fantastic outside shooter, especially in banking the basketball. He's one of the best in the league. Once he got the lead, and he had me going. If he hadn't made that corner shot, I don't think I'd have been out of here.
Well, you're on to the semifinals, Pete. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks a lot.
Pete Maravich to the New Orleans Jazz.
It was too bad, but Pete never did have a chance to try that sit-down shot in the NBA. But he tried just about everything else, firing up shots from all types of angles. And more often than not, they went in, as he averaged 24 points a game during his 10-year NBA career. Maravich retired in 1980, just as a new showman was taking the stage, Magic Johnson. And we'll look at some other flamboyant guards who carried on the Pistols' legacy when we come back. Stay with us. Broke out the shovels and dug deep, I mean real deep. And we uncovered more flashy guards who happen to have cool nicknames as well. We begin with Hot Rod Hundley, a great player at West Virginia who went on to become an all-star for the Lakers. In 1974, when the New Orleans Jazz entered the league with Pistol Pete, Hot Rod became their play-by-play announcer, and he's been calling Jazz games ever since. There was John Williamson, who was called Super John, and the name fit, as he starred for the Nets in their ABA glory days. Williamson teamed up with Dr. J to lead the New York Nets to 2 championships. How about Bobby Bingo Smith? He was a sharpshooter for Cleveland on their playoff teams of the 70s and one of the team's most popular players. Smith is one of 6 Cavaliers to have his number retired. And there was downtown Freddie Brown, whose nickname was well-deserved because of his long-range shooting. He lit it up for the Sonics, helping Seattle win the 1979 NBA championship and becoming the leading scorer in franchise history. Now, of course, we're not going to leave out World B. Free, who had the game to go with his name. World or Lloyd, his given name, was a playground legend in Brooklyn who took his high arcing jumper to the NBA. He averaged 20 points a game during his career and was definitely a free spirit, pun intended. But which of today's players compared to the Pistol?
Jason Kidd is, I think, a player nowadays who's similar to Pistol Pete. Their ability to hit the open man, their ability to score, and their ability to do whatever it takes for their team to win at the point guard position is very similar characteristics.
In today's game, Jason Williams comes to mind. Maybe the best hand-eye coordination I've ever seen with a ball-handling player. And he plays the game with an incredible player.
He's very creative. He just goes behind the back, under the legs, you know, and just gives the look away.
I think Kenny Anderson is another version of Pistol Pete. He is so quick and can dribble and handle the ball just as good as anyone in the league.
Kobe Bryant might have that. You know, when you look at all the tricks and the things that Kobe Bryant can do with the basketball, Kobe has the player. He does all the fancy passes and moves, and he knows the game, and he executes the game, and he makes good decisions.
I think of Brent Barry when I think of Pistol Pete because of his style of playing, how smooth he plays, and just the passes that he does and being so witty with the ball.
All right, enough from the pros. We'd like to get your take on Pistol Pete or anyone you think compares to him. Just drop us an email at NBA.com on the Vintage NBA page. Now, we've gotten a few from our recent show on Bob Cousy. Damon from Tulsa, Oklahoma asks, didn't Cousy once have a 50-point game? Damon, you're right. It happened in the 1953 playoffs. The Cougs scored 50, including a playoff record 30 of 32 from the free throw line. And he led the Celtics past Syracuse in 4 overtimes. Thanks for your email. We'll be back in just a moment. After one final season with the Celtics, Pete Maravich retired in 1980, and in 1987 he was enshrined in the Hall of Fame. However, it was just 1 year later that Maravich suffered his fatal heart attack while playing pickup ball. He was just 40 years old. But while his life was all too short, the Pistols' legacy lives on as he gave fans everywhere a show they'll never forget. That'll do it for Vintage NBA. I'm Robin Roberts. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Take care.